been to jail for lack of paying child support. And only once in that 6-year period of time did I get behind on my child support, and the reason why was because I wasn't being allowed to see my child after I reported an instance where the parents were strung out on drugs and social services did nothing about it. But the feds came in the next day and found all kinds of things wrong. I've investigated this story very, very thoroughly, and I have to say that after this being in time, when before I didn't understand why people could be labeled as deadbeat dads or just deadbeat parents, period, that they must have been really horrible people. Surely these people saying that they didn't do what they were accused of doing to their children, they just had, there's no way. But the thing is, after seeing the lies and the way that you cannot have a jury trial in family court, but a murderer can in criminal court, they hide things in family court to the point to where you as regular people can't see how your tax-paying money is being spent. And what we want to do is push Schaefer Law, which will actually open the courts up to the point to where regular citizens like yourself can come in and see what's going on. You will have the ability to see the conflicts of interest within the, well, put it this way, adult protective services. Same thing, social services, they're the ones in charge of bringing your mom and dad down whenever they're too old, for instance, and they want to possess their property and put them into a nursing home. But that's a family issue. Now, it's hidden, but you'll find out in most times that that judge actually has ownership in that nursing home or that foster home or that drug rehabilitation place, which, by the way, one of the abuse my daughter went through with her mother was the mother hit a ditch drinking and driving, fled the scene. When they caught up with her, well, the car was still in the ditch and the kids were seen hiding beer bottles, but they decided to put her into a drug rehab, of which the judge had ownership in. She got kicked out. She still gets to see the child, and I do not. She gets to drive the child back and forth to foster care, to school, and occasionally have her home for the weekend. I do not. And I have never been accused of neglect or abuse of my child ever. There's a big problem with that. Now, I know there's definitely a possibility that every person you've heard today on this microphone is telling you the truth in regards to how child services ruins families. And I'm going to give you my logical explanation of why. And that is because if they can split a family up, chances of that child going to that drug rehab later on when they get older, chances of that child being placed into a position of going to prison, or let's just say government business, they can profit. If we can nip this in the bud, we can help make the streets safer for people to walk in the long run. If you look real deep into what's going on, this is why, not only why we're in such an economic destruction of, I think last time I checked it out, was a $12.5 billion scam spread across the United States, but morally and ethically, your tax-paying money are really what's causing you to be unsafe, and you're not realizing it. So it's time for us to step forward and do something about this. And I will stop at no means to help all of you get this done. I'm not the one with the answer, but I can tell you, as a team, we can work together, and we can get this thing done. I'm very proud to know many of you guys and work with you as a team. Um, and I want you to understand that this is our God-inspired right to raise our children. And I believe it says that in Proverbs and throughout other verses in the Bible. But the fact is, it's of greed. As long as it's not their children, they don't care. But I'll let you know that I will stop at almost nothing to help this resolve. And what ended up happening in the situation with me is that after mass mailing campaigns, telemarketing, and other ways of making awareness that, and I will say this, through some of our musical events, we've helped judges get their places of position to get in family court so that the wrong people in our eyes couldn't have those positions. The way that it's going down is this, plain and simple. And I don't want to keep rambling on because the governor of Kentucky was charged for conspiracy for placing for placing government workers or friends into government protected, state protected jobs. Well, later acquitted on that. I like to say he's guilty because he beat it, but I did manage to get the social worker removed. But would you imagine this? She's now fostering animals at the animal shelter. But the previous animal shelter she worked for burnt down when I requested from the Freedom of Information Act in regards to her documents of employment. It all burnt down. Half the animals died, and then she got transferred to a larger animal place, the Humane Society, and she's now in charge there. So can you imagine that? This lady was fostering my child, now she fosters animals. She treated my child like an animal. She didn't even know how to spell my child's name, nor did she know her birthday, over and over again. But yet she said she knew the best interest of this child. I'm here to tell you, folks, I'm not going to stop till this is resolved. It is my God-inspired right to do so, and I will not stop at anything. I feel that the most important thing is to protect our children from being murdered. After being involved with this, I've found that around 30% of children in foster care or kinship care wind up either murdered, raped, or abused. Why is that happening?